O Invitational 10-pin bowling championships, an event in which 7 men and 4 women, all state champions, will battle it out over the next 9 matches for prizes worth more than $14,000. Before we introduce the first match, let's go over the basics of bowling. The game consists of 10 frames in which the object is to bowl strikes each time. If you do not roll a strike the first time, then a second ball is allowed. Knocking down the remaining pins is called a spare. There are scoring bonuses for strikes and spares. A strike counts 10 pins plus what you score on your next 2 deliveries, while a spare gives 10 pins plus your pinfall from the next shot. If you fail to bowl a strike or a spare, then you receive the number of pins that you do knock down. The pins are set up in triangular fashion and are numbered 1 to 10 as in our diagram. And you're bound to see plenty of action in our first match, which pits Western Australia's John Kybalo, the number 7 seed, in against Tasmania's Alan Coleman at number 6. For one of these two to reach the championship match, he'll have to climb up the ladder by winning 5 straight matches. John Kybalo is an ex-Sydney bowler who's been playing for 12 years. He's been state representative twice, and he won the Magic Score Open at Morley last year. Kybalo is an assistant manager at Perth's Rockingham Lanes. Alan Coleman is a technician at Devonport. He's bowled for Tasmania in interstate competition 11 times. Coleman won the Australian Masters in 1975, and he has his state's record of 3 games with the 702 series. We'll be back after this break with the first match in the P&O Invitational. Our first match features John Kybalo of West Australia in against Alan Coleman of Tasmania. The bowlers were seeded 1 to 7 after a special tournament held earlier on, and John finished in 7th place. He's got to work his way up the ladder now, and there's his first ball, and it's a great start for John Kybalo from Perth. My co-commentator for the series is Bob Cook.
Thank you, Steve. A wonderful start by John. Buried the ball deep into the 1-3 pocket and got the required result. Both bowlers, interesting, they work in bowling centres. Alan from Devonport Bowl in Tasmania and John Kybalo at Rockingham Bowl in West Australia.
And there's a pretty good one for Alan, and what a great strike that was. Let's have another look at that one. Alan's ball has gone light into the head pin there, and you see it carry through and take that 5 pin out, and there goes the 7. Good opening for these two bowlers, seeded 7 and 6 in this 7-man event.
A wonderful morale boost to start that one.
Yes, that was a ripper.
Always nice to see the 5 pin go. Kybalo lining up using a grey angle AMF ball.
Well, that wasn't as good a result as the first one, of course, and his ball has crossed slightly over to the left of the head pin and left the 6 and the 10 pins to go for. But we're back with Alan now. Alan, a very experienced bowler. He's represented Tasmania on many, many occasions in interstate championships. And that's another good one. And I tell you, in practice, he's looked very aggressive, Bob.
Yes, he's spurring himself on there. We can still see him on camera.
Yes.
And that's a good double.
It certainly is. Oh, boy. Well, that's known in the 10-pin bowling game as a chop, and he won't want to go there too often.
Bad luck for Kybalo. It's a good ball to do that, but it's just a fraction off. Picks the pin, 1 pin out of the 2.
Yes, it may not look like it on the screen, of course, but there's 12 inches between the centre of each of the bowling pins, and that was what cost him that spare. But we're back now with Alan going for 3 strikes in a row to start up, and this looks good too. Oh, bad luck. Could have been a strike.
A little bit light in the pocket there. The ball didn't dig in deep enough and knock the pins around the 10. In fact, they did go around the 10, didn't hit it at all.
Yes, and John Kybalo now with a little bit of leeway to catch up. He started with a strike on this lane before, and he too has left the 10 pin.
Yeah, similar ball.
Well, these are brand new lanes here at Woden Bowl, the centre opening this week, and the lanes are quite oily for this particular match. The oilier the lane, of course, the less possibility of digging those corner pins out, and with that spare in the 3rd frame, Alan Coleman 49 and John Kybalo 28, a 21-pin lead for the Tasmanian. And no problems that time. If he'd put that previous spare ball on lane 3 in that particular position, he would have spared that one that he missed, but not to worry. Both bowlers working on spares in the 3rd frame. Well, Alan Coleman represented Victoria once as well as Tasmania, and he won the Australian Masters in 1975. So accomplished bowler, even though they have limited competition in Tasmania. Nice, easy approach. That one's coming. Oh, boy, let's have a look at that. What a great strike. See those pins splash around.
That was a beautiful ball. Couldn't have been lighter in the pocket, but still it kept the momentum up to hit the 5-pin, and we saw the 5-pin shoot left.
And John Kybalo needed that one, and he's buried that ball deep into the 1-3 pocket. And
Perfect
there
strike.
they all go. Yes, that was the perfect strike. And John's pretty psyched up too, I think.
It looks like it. We've got a good match here.
Yes, we have. The loser of the match gets a cheque for $200, and the winner goes on to meet our next seeded bowler.
Difficult coming from this position, but aggressive enough these bowlers are. They could work their way right through to the top match.
Alan full of concentration, but that one's a little bit wayward. And that pin's rocking, but it's not going to go, so gives John Kybalo a chance now to make up a little bit of leeway. He's got to get a strike in this frame, and if he does, he'll only be about 10 pins behind. Quite a good approach, and I'm very impressed with John's ball, Bob. It's improved out of sight. That's another perfect pocket strike for John Kybalo from Perth.
Yes, he's worked on his ball. It's a very strong ball now.
He's got plenty of weight behind him to give it plenty of oomph and lift as he lets it go as well. A difficult one for Alan, but he's placed the ball perfectly to get that spare. That's one that's very easily missed.
An accurate bowler, Coleman, doesn't bowl a big hook, and the ball directs straight towards the pins. It makes it look fairly easy.
Yeah, something like our top seed, Tom Curry from Queensland. He doesn't turn the ball too much either, and his game is full of accuracy.
Kybalo puts a big turn on the ball with his wrist action.
And that was a big turn, and I tell you, we've got a very good match on our hands now. 11 pins the difference, but Kybalo working on a double in the 5th and 6th frame, and that's his 3rd strike in a row. Alan Coleman now taking a deep breath and taking his time. He knows he's got a pretty tough nut to crack here in John Kybalo.
Yes, the pressure reverting back to Coleman now. Let's see how he performs under the whip.
Well, a little bit high, and he called it. He knew it was going in the wrong place. He slipped a little as he let the ball go, but he got out of it.
Not a bad result. Wasn't as smooth as his previous deliveries.
Well, with that 8 count in the 6th frame, Alan Coleman now 107 in the 5th, and if John Kybalo can get a strike in the 7th frame, he'll be 108, a pin ahead after a 21-pin deficit a couple of frames ago. And he has covered it. That was the one that John missed in the 2nd frame.
Kybalo working on 3 strikes. He gets another one here. He gets those extra 20 bonus pins.
Yes, John finished 7th in our special roll-off to decide the seedings for the tournament with a poor average for him of only 182. He's bowling better than that in this particular game. Well, no strike for him, and that gives him a score of 106 in the 5th, 1 pin behind Alan Coleman, who is on your screen now. Very determined look.
That's a fierce look, Steve.
And a great strike again. Let's take a look. There goes the 8, and there goes the 10 pin.
He's rousing himself on too. That was a good carry. A tough spare for Kybalo. The 3-10, the ball has to fit in between perfectly the 2 pins. And
well, he's gone the other way, and that's not a spare. Well, that's tough break for Kybalo, who made a good comeback there with 3 strikes in a row, but now he's going to be around about 13 pins behind. We're into the 8th frame of this 10-frame match.
Only 3 frames to finish the game. If Coleman can get another strike here, he'll be in a very good position.
Nice push away.
Good release.
Looks pretty good. Yes, he's got it, and he's really pleased with it.
A beautiful ball. Under pressure. Put him in the winning position.
Yes, that's given him a big lead now, about 23 pins again. See if Kybalo can come back again from the brink of defeat.
He's really turning that ball. It's going across the head pin, not staying in the pocket. And it's making it tough for him.
Yes, and that grey angle, one of the harder variety of bowling balls available today. But still turning it too much. A bit too much wrist, perhaps, Bob.
Yes, yes. Not coming through the shot.
Well, that was a better shot. I tell you, if he'd bowled his first ball like that with that good follow-through, then he would have done better, but not to worry. Still a couple of frames to go. John still has room for a 2-14 game. And Alan Coleman now can put the lid on it with a strike in this foundation frame, the 9th frame. He can win it with a strike on this ball. Looks pretty good again. Oh, it didn't come up. Well, it looked all right from here, Bob.
Yeah, he just didn't get it out onto the lane as well as his previous balls, and only a fraction off. He hit the head pin, but a bit light.
Well, Kybalo can catch up now with a strike. He needed that, and he got it. Well, that's a good performance under pressure. Only 19 pins behind now, and Alan Coleman from Tasmania has a difficult spare to go for. This cluster of 4, one of the most difficult spares in the book, and under pressure it makes it 10 times harder.
Yes, the game could take another turn again. Very interesting match.
Let's see if he's covered it. Oh, just got it. Let's have a look at that spare. Notice where the ball has hit, and it just pushes the 5-pin off to the right-hand side. Well, he'll be having a pretty thumping old heart after that one, I can tell you.
Kybalo working on a strike. Needs another to get into the game.
He's got to get a strike this first ball of the 10th, and it wasn't.
The same mistake he's made all game. He hasn't been able to correct it.
And now Alan Coleman coming up for his first ball in the 10th. He'd like to bury this one right in there, of course, and put the...
He's in a good position, Steve. He only has to get 8 or 9 pins, and he'll be safe.
What's it like? Ooh.
Interesting.
No, I think he's got it.
190 in the 9th frame. If Kybalo spares, he'll be 174. He's got a big lead.
And despite that spare by Kybalo, Alan Coleman's going to go on to win this first game, and he needs the spare to get a 200. That'd be a nice way to open this new series. Now Kybalo going through the motions. He's going for a bonus ball, and that's a 9 count. He'll finish the game with 193. And not enough. And Alan Coleman now going for this 3-pin conversion, and that will give him a 200 game.
It's been a good game by Alan. He hasn't missed 1 frame. Even if he misses this, he'll still win, but we hope he'll still get it. Give him a 200. And bowlers never like to miss, even if they know they've got the game won.
And he's made it, and he called it. He's pleased with himself. That's a good performance. He's got a 195 average in leagues and tournaments in Tasmania, and he's going to shoot a game in the 210s. So a great effort by Alan Coleman to defeat John Kybalo. John will take 7th place in our P&O Invitational and a cheque for $200. And Alan now has the chance to move up the ladder. He'll be meeting Rod Bayliss in our match next week. Let's have a look at his bonus ball first. Needs a strike for a 210 game. And he's got 8 for 208 and a win by 15 pins over the West's John Kybalo. Congratulations to Alan Coleman.